right. Good evening, podcast world, and all those on Facebook Live. How y'all doing?
Hello.
Say hey to me.
Hi, everybody out there that's listening to us today. Thank y'all for tuning in.
All right. We about to get started with episode 15.
15, all right.
Woo, Lord. Of
Oh,
our,
another
of our
special guest.
podcast, things my mother never told me. We got another special guest on. This is going to be interesting. Another one of my cousins. I got a lot of people that know how to do stuff.
Yes, you do. And look, I can barely think of one that I can,
All right, Doron. So
maybe one.
what we do is that Tinia's going to read your bio to introduce you to everybody, and then we're going to get
Sure.
started, okay?
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, everybody. Y'all have my cousin today. His name is Doron Elliot. He's an experienced software development manager leading a global team of software engineers. How about that? And the revolutionizing traveling between locations and the autonomous vehicle.
Oh.
With over 15 years of industry experience, Mr. Elliott is driven by his passion to find new and innovative solutions to difficult problems. This passion resulted in him being awarded over 20 patents across three different countries. Wow, that's all I can say.
Right.
In addition to his primary job functions, Mr. Elliott is also the owner of a new Detroit LLC, a real estate development company focused on the equitable redevelopment of impactful properties within Detroit neighborhoods. Through his company, Mr. Elliott redeveloped properties by leveraging Detroit based businesses to ensure that the investment back into the community could be maximized. All right, Ron.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Doron.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And you know, it's funny. When I first thought about having you on here, it was really about your work in your business area, and then I saw that post where you was doing things in real estate. I'm like, wow, that even adds more to it. We might talk more about that than the other one. But
Sure.
before I get started, I want to ask you a couple questions we ask everybody.
Absolutely.
It's pertaining to education. What high school did you go to?
I went to Cass Tech here in Detroit.
What? There we go.
Right.
Another technician.
Yes,
No.
yes, man. We all
Yes.
over, we all over the
Yes.
place. And
We're everywhere.
we're everywhere. You can't get away from us. And I do that because we want to showcase the fact that Detroit public school students, even though we're all Cass graduates, some of us, are doing good things in the community. And where did you go to college at?
I went to college at Oakland University in just north of Detroit.
Okay.
Okay.
We had another Oakland U alumnus on here
Mm-hmm.
earlier, so that's good. So, with that being said, you are a software development manager, and you got over 20 patents. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So first of all, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk and just kick back and kind of exchange of ideas and talk a little bit about what I've done. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for
And
coming.
in terms of what I've been doing, I got a degree in electrical engineering, and primarily it started off focused on more of the electrical components of the vehicle. Worked at Honda first for a few years, and then moved to Ford in 2005, and then I've been with Ford ever since. And at Ford, I transitioned more into the software development realm, where I started working more so on Bluetooth technology. So it's kind of interesting. Bluetooth is, I'm talking on Bluetooth now, right? But,
Right.
but 2005, 2006, it was pretty new. It wasn't really distributed as much as we're familiar with today. So it was brand new and kind of revolutionary in terms of how we were trying to do it in the vehicle market at the time. And that's the area that I primarily focused on.
Okay.
And the bulk of the patents that I've been awarded are really around those innovations on how we integrated Bluetooth into the vehicles, how we can make it as seamless as possible, how we can solve a lot of problems that hadn't been solved before, quite frankly, because we didn't have Bluetooth, in in a lot of our phones. Our first phones we were testing, you guys can remember, were flip phones. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, we were testing flip phones. I'm dating myself a bit, I guess, but
But that's all right.
Look,
That's all,
both
yeah,
of us are.
that's all right.
but yeah, so you know, really focused on that, and as that began to grow, my responsibilities began to grow. So it
Okay.
started off in terms of a focus in the U.S., then a focus in North America, and then transition to a focus globally and
Okay.
how we release Bluetooth product across the world. And
Wow.
that
Okay.
afforded me the opportunity to travel across the world to a variety of different places several times a year. So I was really blessed to have that
Right.
opportunity,
Right.
and then transitioned more so into managing software projects. So expanding beyond Bluetooth to connectivity. So that included Wi-Fi. It included USB, connecting your phone to USB,
Mm-hmm.
and CarPlay and Android Auto, which
Okay.
was somewhat new and back in 2015, 16 timeframe.
Yeah.
Uh, did that and then moved over to the autonomous vehicle, where I'm leading, in essence, a global software team that's working on something pretty new and innovative for that
Mm-hmm.
space.
All right.
All right.
Wow. That's a whole lot.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste, ain't it? A
That's a lot.
mind is a terrible thing to waste. I'm
And
telling you.
and so with one on that traveling thing, we know how much you travel. Yeah, yeah. We get kind of jealous of all the places you wind up going. And so,
All the food he gets the picture too.
yeah,
Yeah, I always post my food pictures.
right, right. And so you've been
Mm.
tell us a couple of places that you've had to go.
Sure. So I've been to Australia. That was one of the
Mm-hmm.
places I was able to go. I was really stoked about that.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
traveled to a variety of places throughout Asia. I've been to Japan. I've been to China. I've been to Thailand. I've been to South Korea,
Mm.
and I've been a variety of places throughout Europe, whether it's Spain, France, the UK, um,
Wow.
Germany. Yeah, I've been through a lot of places throughout there. Italy, um, yeah, a
So
significant
you
number of
ready to
places.
fly now? The
I'm
plane?
not yet. I'm not yet. I'm still, this year has been a light year on travel. I
I
haven't been
know
on a
that's right.
plane.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
right. But I'm
so
just saying,
Right. And
all
so
those.
right. And so all those places are for work.
yes, yes, I've been to other places for work.
Wow. And so then, of
Mm,
course,
mm, mm.
we ain't here to talk about your personal vacation life, but then you do a lot of traveling for vacation as well, right?
I do. Yeah, I do. I really believe in working hard and playing hard, right? And
Yeah,
so,
yeah. You
so
deserve it.
yeah, so I'll also try to travel the world
Right.
um, when I get some time off.
Right. And I bring that up because we don't necessarily know who's actually listening in, but if they have a idea of, or they have, or should have children that may want to go in the area you went in, it shows what's available to them if they get into that arena.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's beautiful. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's so important that we're able to show, the depth of the type of people that can have these opportunities. So you talked about, DPS, right?
Right.
And, showing that, hey, there's people from DPS that have the opportunities and that have done, so many, good things. I have a lot of friends that, whether they're doctors or other engineers or attorneys, and that we're all products of DPS. And so
Yeah.
I think that's so important that we are able to reach back and show those kids that are either in DPS now or
Right.
recently graduated,
Right.
that you hear a lot of negative things
Right.
often, but there are a lot of opportunities out there
Yes.
for us that in essence the world is available to us. And
Right. Right.
don't let anyone tell you that just because you went to DPS you're disadvantaged, and you can't do these things, because
Mm-hmm.
you absolutely can. There's too many of us out here doing them for kids to kind of think that that's not an opportunity.
That's the speech I used to give the first couple episodes.
Ah, okay.
So
Not
I'm
only that, to our children. It doesn't matter what school you went to. The Lord gave us
Absolutely.
everything we need, and all we have to do is open up that door.
yeah.
Absolutely. Along those lines, right now I'm volunteering for DAPSEP, and
Okay.
if you're not
Yes.
familiar
Oh,
with DAPSEP,
Yeah, we
we
are.
are.
okay,
Both our
My children
children
in
are products
DAPSEP.
of DAPSAP.
that's awesome, right? And maybe for those that might be watching, if they're not familiar with it, it's the Detroit Area Pre-College Engineering Program, and I was a student of DAPSEP, right? I went to a lot of classes, and it's really to get students interested into STEM
Yeah.
and science and technology and engineering types
Right.
of
Mm-hmm.
careers, and so that actually piqued a lot of my interest
Okay.
in engineering
Yeah.
is through a DAPSEP class, and so now. Through Ford, I'm actually volunteering in a DAPSEP course where we're helping kids that are in either middle school or um, ninth or 10th grade
Mm-hmm.
learning the concepts of application development
Right.
so
Right.
Yes.
that they learn how to make an app as it relates to other things to consider, how to do wireframes and things of that sort. And so, it's a really great program for getting kids interested in STEM to see, hey, if they like it or not. And if they do, it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people that contribute to try to, foster that interest and grow, more individuals to be a part of STEM.
Very nice. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So because after the stuff that you told, we haven't even gotten to the other stuff that we talked about earlier with Forward.
Mhm.
It's amazing that you have the time, the will, and the means to volunteer. That's real good. Because you run every day, don't you? Or just about.
Yeah. I work out. I do try to do some fitness activity every day, whether it's riding my bike, running outside, or on some home fitness through like an elliptical type of machine or
Yeah.
home weights.
Yeah.
Before COVID, I was going to the gym, 3 or 4 times a week, trying to stay trying to stay healthy.
Right. Right.
You
It's
doing good. You
right.
doing good.
Right. So, but it goes to show that there's time. There's enough time in the day.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a matter of prioritizing,
Yes, right. Prioritize
prioritizing
making
it,
it. That's right.
and
Right.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
just cutting time out.
right. Are you at liberty to say what any of those patents were?
Yeah, absolutely. So, they're public. I'll talk about a few of them. One of them, is really interesting. It sounds so like
Yeah.
it's basic now, right? Because but you have to remember, some of these were things back in like 2008, 2009,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some in the pipeline I can't talk about yet, but
Sure. Sure.
more recently. But something like hey, when you were on a call in the car and you get out of the car and maybe it's a gas station, you leave some people in the car and you take your phone with you,
Right.
but you want that phone to continue, you want that conversation to continue, right? And so
Right.
we were doing some things like how do we determine that the person left the car, and then
Mm-hmm.
we switch the call back to the phone, right?
Okay.
Or how do we know when you get back into the car,
Yeah.
right? And so that we can seamlessly connect it back, as an example. And so,
Mm-hmm.
those are some of the details that's one of the patents that I'm on, right?
Wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Another patent that I'm on is, you got things with these voice assistants, whether you use Google or you use Siri, right? There's different signals you can kind of look for from a device to determine whether or not these features are active or not. And so we put in some specific logic as it relates to um, how to determine if the features are active, if the user has activated them or not, and to alert them in the event that they hadn't activated them. And
Okay.
another was like almost like it was called do not disturb, right? And so if you can really just if you just wanted to drive and not be interrupted from any phone calls, or just want to kind of relax and kind of calm down on your way home from work or
Yeah,
into the
because I
office.
use that feature. I
Yeah,
did. Yeah,
you
back
just hit.
not too, back in the day,
Yep,
I sure did. I use that
yep,
feature all the time because when I'm driving, I ain't trying to talk. So it
yep.
gives it a message. I'm driving, da 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 da, call me back.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just hit do not disturb, and all your
yeah.
calls are rejected. So those
Mm-hmm.
are a few of the things
Okay.
that I work
Wonderful job.
All right.
on. Thank you.
So we can thank you guys for that.
Oh my goodness,
Right.
that is
So,
something.
all right. So that's cool. And you say you've been there. You've been 15 years and traveling. So
Yes.
what I want to talk about now, I'm gonna segue away from there. You started doing some development, real estate development.
I did.
Yeah. Let's
I
talk about
did.
that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So real estate has always been a passion of mine. shortly after graduating from college, I got into the business when I was in Ohio, and we I ended up taking some classes, real estate classes, and things of that sort. And then from there, I learned a lot about how to find good deals, how to invest into homes, and
Right.
then determine.
Let me stop you
Whether,
real quick. Let me stop you
okay.
real quick. We getting some feedback in your microphone.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Let me see. Go ahead and say something.
Test one, test two,
Okay,
test
you
one.
good.
Better.
Okay, you good now.
Okay. So started off in Ohio and taking some real estate classes. Actually became a licensed realtor in Ohio, and learned the ins and outs of the business there. Then actually bought my first home in Ohio,
Okay.
and that was it was a foreclosure, right? And so I had the opportunity of having to do some rehab work on that house, and having my mom and dad and sister come on down and help fix up the home. But then came to Detroit and really saw a lot of opportunity here in the city as it relates to finding properties, investing in properties, and started off with investing in a property next door to the house that I grew up in.
Okay.
Bought that house, did a little bit of light work, had rented it out, and then a small apartment building came up in the Indian Village area. Needed a total rehab though, and so from there, uh, took a lot of hard work, a lot of effort in rehabbing that, but got it up and running. It's a pretty good accomplishment for me, and got that rented out and been managing that for a while. Bought some land behind it, and have been doing things here and there since then. Looking to add a little bit to the portfolio. Might have something to kind of talk about in the next couple of weeks as we see how things work out. So
Let's microphone down.
Is there?
Okay. And I saw where you did some refinancing or some financing. You went through African American. Was it?
yeah. So First Independence is First Independence. So with that apartment building that I'm referencing, I did that rehab probably about 2008, 2009 timeframe, and it was time for a refresh of some of the units, updating some of the kitchens and things of that sort. And to do that, I ended up pulling some capital out of that property.
Okay.
And I worked with First Independence, and they were the bank that I had somewhat of a relationship with. They helped in financing the original repair, and started working with them. But the interesting part with that refinance is that although it's in a very good area and fully occupied, making money, when they came out to appraise it, the appraiser didn't have a significant number of comparables
Mm-hmm.
to be able to determine value. And so they ended up valuing the property at a rate that wasn't high enough for me to be able to do the things that I need to do to pull the money that I wanted to do.
Right.
So in talking with First Independence was very familiar with the village's neighborhood, very familiar with the upward trajectory of the neighborhood. I know there's a significant amount of things going on in West Village that's literally
Right.
2 blocks down
Right.
from my apartment building, and ended up using some of their other loan options to be able to get the deal done that enabled me to be able to finance the upgrade to the kitchens that I did.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. And I brought that up because it's so important that we understand that a lot of times our people are the best source for us to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Because some folks don't want to invest in us.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I don't think I would have been afforded this particular option had it been a larger bank, right? Despite having relationships with some of those larger banks, I had
Mm-hmm.
kind of gone down that path earlier in 2010, 2011, and ran into some roadblocks there. So going with a local bank you have a relationship with that understands the neighborhood, understands what's going on in the local market, proved to be extremely valuable for me.
Yeah, yeah, it
Wonderful.
does. And it was good that you had enough insight, I'll use that word, to look at that option as opposed to sticking with the more mainstream option, if you will.
Yeah, I think it's important in terms of one of the things, and you read in the bio, that I try to hire either individuals that are Detroit residents or companies based out of Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? And I find that extremely important. So I also find it important to recycle as many dollars as I can into the neighborhood, and
Yes.
quite frankly, into the African American community.
Mm-hmm.
And so partnering or working with an African American owned bank was important, and being able to work with one based in the city of Detroit was
Right.
was even better, right? And
Yes.
so
Right.
that's been kind of one of the goals that I've had since I started doing real estate development.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And I know.
Plus, you had a good business plan. How about that?
I did, and shout out to building community values, right?
Okay.
It's also a Detroit-based nonprofit that focuses on trying to increase the number of Detroit-based developers,
Mhm.
and so that we understand what it takes to redevelop a property, how to evaluate the property, how to come up with a pro forma,
Mm-hmm.
how to talk to banks, right?
Yes.
What do the banks want to see from
Mm-hmm.
you? So you come in with a solid plan, you speak their language so they know you understand what you're doing.
What
You
you're
they
doing, yeah.
understand what you're talking about, and that makes it
Mm-hmm.
a lot easier. So shout out to them for helping with my educational process.
Right. And
All
what's that?
right.
What's that name again?
Building community values,
Okay.
BCV,
Oh,
BCV Detroit.
all right. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because Brandis is she's helping us with the keeping the flow of what's going to the people that are listening in,
Okay.
so that we can provide them with the information and things that you are saying. So we think we need that. We're going to ask some time for you to reiterate certain things.
Sure.
So now I'm gonna stray away from some of this for just a little bit because
Okay.
I got some inside information.
Okay. Uh-oh.
But no, because your family is real active in a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
Is that not right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
and so we can put them on the spot just for a minute,
Hmm. I
because
think they're listening.
yeah, I do too. And so, what is it that your sister does?
Okay, so my sister is actually like a program manager or project coordinator at the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't
And
know that.
so, yeah, and so a lot of these events that you see in that the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy she's
Mm-hmm.
involved with.
Right.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it's kind of funny. I actually ran into her Saturday morning just walking my dog,
Right.
and she
Right.
was there getting ready for one of their events that
Mm-hmm.
they were putting on
Right.
Saturday morning.
Okay.
But yeah, she's really involved in
Right.
in that and a few other things.
Right. So if she's listening,
Mm-hmm.
tell her we need to talk to her.
Yes, we do.
That's why I
Yep.
did that.
Yep. I'm sure she's listening. She asked what time we were going to be on, so I know
Right.
she's listening.
I like putting people on the spot.
Yeah. Oh my
And,
goodness. And
and
I'm down there all the time.
yeah.
Hustle class. Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's beautiful down here.
Right. And so what is your mother doing right now?
Yeah, so my mother is extremely involved in the GBI, which is the General Baker Institute. And for
Mm.
those that aren't familiar, General Baker Jr. is my uncle who passed away a few years, but was very active in labor rights movements,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And labor rights movements from like the 60s and earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had a significant number of teachings as it relates to the labor rights movement. He's part of a group called Drum, which is very active, right,
Mm.
in labor rights. Um, and so this institute is a tribute to him, as well as the others that kind of came
Right.
along with him as they fought for labor rights for the workers, right? And
Yes.
Right. Right.
so my mom's on the board of that. My cousin Carolyn, his daughter, right, is really leading that up to continue those teachings
Right.
for people. And they
Mhm.
host different events at the General Baker Institute. They have a building that's off of Livernois in the Lodge, and yeah, they're hosting events. They host events weekly, right? And
Right.
so it's
Okay.
a really
Yeah.
good cause. And the knowledge and the information that they cascade, you don't necessarily see a lot of places. And so it's really good to be able to have that outlet for
Mm-hmm.
information.
Right. Isn't that building the former Mays Printing Company?
It is a former printer company. I don't remember which
It's
one, but I know
it's
it's a former.
May it's Mays.
It was Hayes. Okay.
MAYS Carlton Mays.
Nice.
Yeah. A lot of questions I asked I already know the answer to.
Ah, okay. Yeah, we do know it
Love
was a
it.
print shop, right? And they actually still use it as a print shop
Yeah.
to print some of the material that they're passing out, and some of the teachings that they want to cascade to others.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Cool. See, like, and that's why I wanted to bring that up because
I'm gonna have to catch some of those events they done weekly at
right.
that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yes.
Yeah.
it goes to show that you come about uh your zest for doing and helping people. It comes about honestly. It's in the family blood.
It
DNA.
is. It
Mm-hmm.
really is. Yeah. When you think about it, when you look at our family and our history,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us have helped other people and have a
Yes.
deep tie to community,
Right.
right?
Right.
And yeah,
Family.
it's instilled in me, right? And it's kind of built up from what I've seen growing up, from the ethics and the morals that my family had,
Right.
and what they taught me. My grandfather, General Baker Senior, had
Yeah.
a pretty significant role in my life, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of what I've learned and gained from him, I think I can see it. I can
You're
see it
right.
today.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then when it comes to real estate, my dad does, so much with this. He's very handy, right? And
Okay.
he knows how to go in and fix things. And, he
Mm-hmm.
taught me, the importance of that. That's not fixing things wasn't necessarily my thing, right? So I didn't necessarily pick that up from
But
dad,
you
but I
need to
did.
know. Yeah, you need to
Exactly.
know that. That's
I need
right.
to know, what goes in behind that, and,
Mm-hmm.
how, what really goes into it. And then, from my mom's perspective, having the bigger picture, having the overall view, and how to put things together, and how, not to, how to progress through adversity, because we're going to have, setbacks
Oh
at different
yes.
times, and,
Mm-hmm.
how to stay calm and, collected through those difficult times,
Mm,
and,
okay.
but
You
still
answering that
emphasize it,
question
and
already?
push on. And so, those are traits that I get from my family, that I can really,
Right.
really kind of
Mm-hmm.
highlight.
Right. And so that's a good segue for us. The show is called Things My Mother Never Told Me.
Sure,
And and
sure.
and you're gonna be another one of those people that can't answer this question.
Yeah.
So we
What it
asked
is
so
then?
that's the question we asked all our guests. Is there something that you've encountered that you discovered in your journey called life that your mother didn't tell you, didn't prepare you for?
I think it's interesting, right? I think that in some cases, what the world throws at you is so random,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I don't know if any person can, like, literally tell you
Right.
everything,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
but
Right.
it's how they prepare you to face different things,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
Right.
how you react when you face different things. So I think that's what I was able to really hone in from my mom,
Mm-hmm.
right? In that she knew I was going to experience things that she had not experienced,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
she
Right.
she knew it was extremely important for me to have a solid education, and to go to college, and to follow my dreams and follow my past. And I think she saw that I wanted to be an engineer, right?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
kind of came up in high school, and we started seeing that. And
Okay.
my mom isn't an engineer, right? But
Right.
so she knew I was going to encounter things that she hadn't necessarily encountered, but she was able to teach me that through, I'm going to face different things
Right.
that are going to challenge me, that are going to make me want to quit,
Yeah.
but I won't quit, right?
Mhm.
No matter what, people may say to me that may try to get me to quit, that I don't listen to that. I don't
Right.
listen to them because I know that I am able to do whatever I put my head to. And my
Mhm.
mom instilled that, in me, and I thank her for that. And so I haven't hit something that I thought I couldn't do
Yeah.
because anytime some doubt comes into my mind, I kind of hone in on those lessons. I hone in on that and say, you know what, sit back, recollect, and just approach it a different way.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So,
sir.
that's how my mom prepared me for the things that I'm facing, right?
Yeah. There you go. And that's good because at the end of the day, your answer is the perfect answer. Because the reason why I even came up with the idea is because my mother died in 1985. No way she could possibly have told me or prepared me for any of this stuff that's going on now
Right,
or over the last 30 years. I mean, it just couldn't have happened because, like you
right.
said, stuff didn't exist. Nobody knows all that stuff, but it's what they put in you so that when
Mhm.
that stuff comes up, that you're prepared for it. And so that was a perfect answer. You make me sick.
You make me proud.
Well,
You make me
hopefully my
proud.
mom is listening and happy.
Yeah,
I know
I'm,
that's
I'm,
right.
I'm sure she is.
Yeah, because we don't ask that question to shame moms or nothing.
No,
We just know.
no, because
Yeah.
more often than not, the answers have been more along the lines of what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mhm.
that nobody can think about anything they didn't give them. In fact, some of them said they were over prepared.
Yeah.
They were so prepared they thought they could do so much that when it came time to not be able to do something, they said this ain't right because I can do anything.
Right.
So
And they
that's
threw their dad in too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they threw him in there. So
Just like you did.
right. So
Yeah.
so that's a good answer.
Hmm.
I'm pleased with that.
Yeah.
So getting back over to the can you talk anything about, you say you work with autonomous vehicles. Can you talk anything about that?
I am, yeah. So, I work at Ford and a division within Ford called the Autonomous Vehicle LLC right now. And, we've committed to, coming out with a fully autonomous vehicle in the future,
Mm-hmm.
in the not too distant future. And that's the space that I'm working in. I'm working on, how do we reimagine,
Right,
transportation
Oh
right, right,
no.
right.
in the future? What
I'm
does
looking
that
at the
look like?
Jetsons right now.
Right. Like what does that look like
What does
when
that
you
look
don't
like?
have to be concerned with driving,
Right.
and what opportunities are there? And so it's really interesting space to work in. The problems that we're facing is things that haven't been faced before, and those are
Every
the type of problems that I like,
Yeah.
and those are the types of challenges that really drive me and allow me to be creative,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that.
Mhm.
So even when it's a little different when you're leading a team, right? You're not
Right.
necessarily expected to
Do that
execute
much,
in
but
that
lead
way,
that team.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Right,
Right.
but it's still a really satisfying opportunity to work in this space.
Sure. And I'm sure sometimes it's kind of hard to not jump in and do some of the stuff that you used to do.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, it is
I
getting too
know.
deep into the architecture. So yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
you up there telling them, dang, I would have did it this way. Oh,
right.
he's almost there.
Right.
How much diversity is it on your team?
That's a great question. I think that there is it's a diverse group of team members when looking at it globally,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
But there's a lot of conversation about diversity inclusion
Mm-hmm.
within the company now, and um, it's really around a lot of conversations about African Americans
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
how do we increase the number of African Americans that we see in leadership opportunities and leadership positions. And so I think that like many areas, we need more in terms of just the population. We need more individuals in STEM, right? We need to be able to, you know, have more people from African American perspective in STEM. And so I'd always like to see more, African Americans interested in STEM and available to fill a lot of these roles. So,
Yes.
and there's a lot of organizations out there that also help with that. One that I was a member of, right, is called NSBE, the National Society of Black Engineers.
Right.
And so it's an extremely important organization. I actually got my first internship through NSBE, right? At General Motors is where I got that opportunity, and got my second internship through Ford through that. And then got my first full-time job at Honda through a conference at NSBE. And when I was ready to leave Honda, I called my old boss that was my boss at Ford and said, I'm ready to come back home. So literally every job, that I had, I actually got through NSBE. And Ford is really committed to NSBE, and had a pretty significant recruiting presence when the convention was here in Detroit last year. We planned to have a pretty good presence in Texas, but due to COVID, right, it was canceled. So, but yeah, I think recruiting at those type of events has provided us an opportunity to really exchange and dialogue with a lot of candidates.
Right. And so how did you get how did you hear about NSBE?
It probably was a flyer or something that I saw on campus, right? But it was through school, right? It was through campus, and hearing about the National Society of Black Engineers. I was an engineering student and said, this sounds interesting, right? And went to it. But through NSBE, I learned the importance of internships, right? And how having an internship was an opportunity to differentiate myself from others that didn't have that. And so I learned from there that companies were looking for individuals or that had previously worked somewhere else. So, I learned that through NSBE. I was the president of the NSBE chapter at Oakland. And that afforded me the opportunity to learn how to run meetings, how to gather groups, lead groups, right? These were skills that turned out to be so important to learn at a younger age, that I was able to use in the corporate setting. Right. So because I had to end up, going to these different corporations to fund different NSBE projects that we had on campus, right? So one of the things that we did was kind of cool back there is we started learning about dinner interviews. Right. And so we said, well, a lot of us haven't necessarily been to a 5-star restaurant to know all the ins and outs of what you should do when the dining etiquette.
So what fork to use?
What fork to use, right?
You take it away or bring it to your mom.
Exactly. So we ended up having to get funding to have a dining etiquette, right, event at Oakland. And so what that taught me was I had to talk to companies to hey, put together a business plan on why it was important, interact with these people to help me, or to help us be able to have that event. But that afforded me opportunities to learn how to talk to these people, what type of things that they were looking for from a corporate perspective, what did they want from a business plan, and kind of come back and show, the rest of the group, like, hey, this is what they're asking for. This is how we do these things, right? And, pass it along to the next generation.
It's a method to the madness.
Yes,
it is.
Absolutely.
And so that's so important because, a lot of times when we go to school, we're not so much concerned about that kind of stuff. We go to class and we have fun and all that other stuff. Hey, later.
Do the assignments,
Right. And so it shows, for those listening, it shows that don't be afraid, and they tell you young folks, don't be afraid to get involved in these organizations, because there is something good for you on the other side of it,
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt.
Yeah,
He was started
completely
for a reason.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
There's a variety of organizations out there, right?
Yes,
NESB is one, but there's definitely not the only one
Mm-hmm.
for whatever you're interested in.
sure.
Some of my friends are physicians, and I forgot the name of the organization, but they have one, and they travel all around the country at different conferences and
Mm-hmm.
interact. And I think one of my best friends was I think the chair of one of those organizations, and so
Yeah.
really important, right? And for growth and development perspectives.
Sure,
Mm-hmm.
sure.
New innovations coming out, all that. Yes.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And right. And so we shouldn't be afraid. And for the young folks, we shouldn't be afraid to venture out, to get
Mm-hmm.
involved, to take a chance. If you're trying to do something, because one of our guests a couple of weeks ago, he interned with the Huffington Post,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually got in because he wasn't didn't want to be a teacher anymore. So now he's a front page editor of Huff Post.
Nice.
Yeah, and he did that because he had no experience in journalism, but through that internship, he
Mm-hmm.
was able to get trained and,
Get
and then
trained.
show what he could
Mm-hmm.
do, and marry that with what he knew how to do, and there was opportunity for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, the competition is only increasing exponentially every
Mm-hmm.
year,
Right.
and those what you learn through internships. A lot of times you look at the resume and say, well, how involved were they in
Mm-hmm.
extracurricular activities?
Sure.
Did they hold any officer positions
Right.
Yes.
in these different groups? Did they take internships?
Mm-hmm.
What did they learn? What projects did they lead?
What
Right?
projects
And
did they
so,
lead? Mm-hmm.
yeah, because those are characteristics that are extremely important in building a team.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know, how will they work with people?
Right.
Exactly.
Leadership
How will they
skills.
interact
Yes.
with people? Right? That's
Mm-hmm.
extremely important to the success of an organization.
Yeah.
And so these are things we look for when we're hiring people.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
it's important.
Right. And also, I would add that for those folks who are vested in a company that they have no intention of leaving, those opportunities still exist on that side where you can get involved in things internally that can help your promotion potential, your growth
Absolutely.
potential internally. So it's not just for people just starting out; it's for everybody. That people want to see that you are multifaceted.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And so there's always opportunities within, at least within Ford, and I'm sure in others, to volunteer to take on, some new role, whether, it's representing the company through some volunteering,
Mm-hmm.
right,
That's
or
what we do.
organizing some
Mm-hmm.
volunteering things, or representing the company in different technical forums from an engineering perspective, right? There's a significant number
Yeah,
of
yeah,
opportunities. And one thing that's really good is that it affords you networking opportunities. And so
right,
you may meet someone from
Mm-hmm.
another department that you would have never met in your day-to-day
Mm-hmm.
job.
I
right,
And
know.
so you may be able to network with that person. They learn of your skills and vice versa. And you never know where that may end up. It may result in an opportunity in their department,
right.
right? As an,
Mm-hmm.
as an example. So
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
it's
You're right.
extremely important.
It
Or it
is.
may even result in you getting a mentor,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I had a mentor before he retired from Ford that was extremely helpful, to me, and opening my eyes to see and learn, some things that I wasn't aware of that was taking place. He actually was from Southwest Detroit. He grew up maybe about 8 blocks away from me,
Really.
and
Mm-hmm.
so it was really cool to kind of discuss these things with him and yeah, learn from his experiences.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. And it helps us to understand that we are not in it alone.
Right.
You
Yeah,
really can't do it alone, no matter how
right.
much you think you can. And also,
It was the Lord's plan.
right, and also
We need people.
all things that help you, you don't
Yeah.
have to get paid for them right then.
Right. Yeah, and you'll even if you don't get paid, you'll learn. Or I mean,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you learn something from it.
right.
You learn something that you didn't know before,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, and no one can ever take that away from you. And
Never.
you never know how that learning may prepare you for something in the future. So
Right,
I think it's
Mm-hmm.
right.
totally worth it.
Yeah.
I'm like you, because even in high school, when I was head of the morale committee, and it was,
Hmm.
it's like, and so now it's so easy for me to just love on people and to greet people, and You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
being a member on the usher board, you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
learn how to greet people and how to treat people. You know,
Right.
so all
Very
these things
important.
make a difference.
It's very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing people remember is how you treat them.
Mm-hmm. They don't
True.
forget that. You're right.
True.
Yeah. So, so you got, like I said, you have a wide variety of stuff that you've done, that you're involved in. And so, where do you see yourself moving forward?
That's a great question. I mentioned, I gave a preview earlier, right? I might have some more real estate deals to talk about in the future, in the
Mm-hmm.
next few weeks. So
Okay.
definitely continue to grow the real estate business. I think there's a lot of opportunity still in this market, and continue up the path within AV vehicles, right?
Right.
There's still so much to learn, so much to do that I still find it very interesting, and I find it really challenging. And so I like those opportunities.
All right. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, wonderful,
You got anything else you
wonderful.
want to ask him?
I don't know. I'm just so in awe already. I am. I'm just saying I can't get over it. You the only other engineer. Well, like I said, I've only my girlfriend has a son that's an engineer too. He graduated from what U of M,
Yes.
and he has his own development uh
Yeah, he's
company
out. He's
now.
right. He's out in
He's out in
California now.
California though.
Nice.
Yeah, they moved out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, is there anything else that you would like to share with the folks that are listening?
I think it's important to try to give back. I think that's really important. It's
Yes.
so I've had a mentor, right, that took time out of his schedule to reach and pull me. I've had so many people in college, right, that looked out for me, that took time to teach me something that wasn't part of their day,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't part of their job, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And so, but they still took that time out of their schedule to do that. And so one thing that I would say is, reach back and help someone else
Mm-hmm.
that is coming after you.
Yes.
That's
Take the
right.
time
Pay
to
it forward.
teach someone else. Yeah, pay it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, it's so important because that's the only way that I think we will be able to continue to steady to grow, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk to my sister all the time. It's like, you won't if the hurdles that I have, I'm going to tell you what they are. You're
Right.
going to face
Mm-hmm.
other hurdles, but you're not going to face this one because I'm going
That's
to tell
right.
you
Cause you
what
Exactly.
something gonna
what
trigger
this
you, right?
right. And yeah, I'm going to at least tell you. So,
Yeah.
It's up to you after
it's
that.
up to
So
you, but
look, I know where he going with this. You know.
right. You will see it coming, right, at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day, because it makes no sense for you to have to learn the exact same way that I learned, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think that's important to reach back and do that at Wider. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm volunteering in DAPSEP now.
Yeah.
That's why I mentor, others that I see coming after me, to
Yes.
kind of
Oh,
give them that view and that insight. So
All
well,
right.
they gonna appreciate you later. You know they may not see it now,
Right.
but baby, they will see it later.
So I'll say this in closing. We'll let you get back to your evening. That yourself and some of the other young folks that we've had on here, what I see in you guys is a bright future for us. I really do, because of the things that you're doing, but also the insight that you have, and not just talking it, but walking it as well. Because it's easy to sit here and say that we need to give back, but it's another thing when you're actually out there doing it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we really appreciate it. We appreciate you spending this time with us.
Yeah.
Uh,
no problem. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm really
You
glad to
millennials
have this opportunity.
reign.
right. And so right. And so for you and for some of the other guests who haven't got it yet, they're out there listening. We give each one of our guests, and we trying to anyway, a T-shirt that says "Things My Mother Never Told Me" on it. It's a shameless plug for our podcast, but it's also it's also a thank you for sharing your time with us and with our listeners, to let them know what's going on out here in the world, because that's what we want to show, that there are things available to us as African Americans,
Mm-hmm.
to them as young folks, that all is well if they just do what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So let me know what size. Send me an email. Tell me what size shirt you wear and what color.
Will do.
Black or gray. They black. They have a yellow design on them, and they're black. One is black and one is gray.
Okay,
So let
will
me
do.
know Yeah.
And keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I will. I will.
And tell Elaine to call me.
Yep.
Send me an email. Or something.
I sure will.
All right.
All right.
Thank you,
then.
Deron.
All
Have
right.
a great
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Love you, cousin.
Love you too.
All
All
right.
right.
Tell your
Bye-bye.
mom.
Bye.
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 Yeah, that was good.